with AI, we're seeing a lot of auto-denied claims, which is obviously really dangerous. My brother suffered from epilepsy his entire life. Because health insurance is usually provided to you through your job, and because his illness made it hard for him to hold a job, he was trapped in this revolving door of never being able to get the care he needed because he couldn't keep the job that would get him the care that he would needed, that would get him to keep the job that would get him the care they needed. Sadly, in 2021, he passed away. He choked on his own vomit and he died.
You can help build the only independent news outlet always on the ground with the people for as low as 16 cents a day.
Corporate media, they've been lying to us for years, and you're going straight to the people.
Flint, Michigan.
Brooklyn, New York.
Government sending one more you to the residents of Chicago.
We need as many independent voices as possible, and that's why what you guys do is so important.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
You saw this coming together from the left, right, libertarian, no labels. You have this kind of cross-partisan coming together because the polls are overwhelming. People want like a universal healthcare system.
Yes, and I think that that's the reason why they're so hell-bent on making him guilty, is because they saw that unification. They saw that it was a danger to capitalist practices in our healthcare system. And so the best thing they could do is shut this down really quickly, get the guilty verdict, make up some evidence and throw the book at this person. But actually, there's been too much scrutiny, and the public has not let go of this case, and they can't get away with it like they always do.
Let me ask you about you, because you've been out here a couple of these court cases. You've talked to people. What are some of the horror stories you've heard from people? Healthcare denials. By the way, you should know cops are out here. I don't know why, but they're
not nearly enough of us for this.
Yeah. They're trying to
like 10 people.
Cordon off this army of supporters. But what have you heard from people? What's your personal experience with loved ones, yourself?
I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on right now, especially with AI. We're seeing a lot of auto-denied claims, which is obviously really dangerous. When you have a person that is suffering from a life-threatening illness or a debilitating disease, and you're a caretaker, a lot of your energy and time is spent on trying to love that person and prepare for their needs. You don't have time to read through contracts and renegotiate something that is there to protect you. So this is really an ableist and ageist way that these companies are predatory on the most vulnerable of us. Personally, from my side, my brother suffered from epilepsy his entire life. Because health insurance is usually provided to you through your job, and because his illness made it hard for him to hold a job, he was trapped in this revolving door of never being able to get the care he needed because he couldn't keep the job that would get him the care that he would needed, that would get him to keep the job that would get him the care they needed. Sadly, in 2021, he passed away. He choked on his own vomit and he died. And this was very...
How old was he?
He was 39. And this was very preventable. This was easily preventable. And this is a sad story that is happening for tons of Americans. So it's one of the reasons why I'm out here. Crimes are not crimes for the wealthy. They're fines. And that there seems to sort of be this association with the more wealth that you've accumulated and the more success that you've accumulated, that the wrongs and the ills that you commit in society are kind of a matter of course. When you're at such a high level, of course people are going to die when you line your pockets, and of course other people are going to suffer. And unfortunately in America, for too long, we've taken that matter-of-factly. But I think now, especially under this administration, under the extreme belt tightening that we've been seeing, under the ICE terror that we're seeing, I think a lot of people are waking up to that, and they're starting to recognize all forms of violence, systemic, racial, educational, healthcare violence, as actually just as bad, if not worse, than physical violence.
I have a last question for you. Dell laying off 12,000, Nissan 11,000, Starbucks 2,000, General Motors 17,000. That's just some of the companies. Most of this is because of AI. All right, well, if you have this fucked up, corrupt system that we're talking about, that your healthcare is tied to employment, and you essentially have the government giving government welfare to corporations to create more data centers, double down on AI, which is then going to lay off more people. We have no safety net for those people, and their healthcare is tied to their jobs. Well, what's going to happen when you're laying off tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people with no UBI? And no universal healthcare system, and then Medicaid's being gutted at the same time? Won't you see more violence?
I'm so glad you asked this. So with the way society is set up with the Industrial Revolution, with agriculture, all before technology, right? People were a necessary commodity. That's how GDP works. You have more population, they can create more industry, they can create more products, and then this is going to sustain your market growth. Now we have AI, which can do so many jobs of so many people, and we're cutting the market. So people are no longer collateral, they're no longer chattel, they're no longer useful for us or GDP, they're actually liabilities. So laying people off, tying their healthcare to their job, and criminalizing homelessness, as well as removing healthcare, is a form of population control and enslavement. They're basically trying to lay people off, make it so that they have no ability to work, that they have no ability to form homes and buy homes. And when these people are then on the streets, if they're healthy and can work, they will be put into jail and imprisoned, and they will then work for capital. And if they're unhealthy, they'll get sick and they'll die.
That's pretty dark. That's kind of what Orwell warned about in 1984, just a little worse. And we haven't even added the surveillance system that's really doubling, tripling. Palantir. We have ICE using all sorts of unprecedented surveillance. The communication between ICE and law enforcement, ICE and private corporations. So you're basically saying they're essentially trying to just kill off whole swaths of the population.
Yes, they're culling now. They needed these. For the ultra wealthy to exist, there must be the ultra impoverished. So we've reached that system now. I mean, we've heard so much, in your lifetime, in my lifetime, about overpopulation, and certain places in certain countries are overpopulated. But then when you really do the math, you see that those places that are overpopulated aren't the ones consuming all of the energy and all of the products. So we've been primed to say, oh, there's too many people anyway. And as people get sick and as they go homeless and as they're disappeared, we've been conditioned to believe that that's good, but I'm here, you're here, and we're here to say that that is not true.
And do you think Mangione, who we think that a trial might begin within a few months, we don't know which one first, do you think, given all the abnormal things that have happened, essentially the federal government calling him guilty, there's no presumption of innocence from the federal government, what is the chances of him even getting a fair trial?
I'm really hoping for jury nullification. Like you said, we've seen so much unity in this that I think for them to get a conviction, they would have to stock the jury with people that demonstrate that they are anti-him, because I don't know anyone in the general public who really is. So I'm hoping for jury nullification. Also, like you said, there's been no presumption of innocence. This trial has been talked about up and down and colored in every which way. So I'm hoping that, he gets a not guilty.
Why do you think he's innocent?
Well, once again, we've seen that the evidence was collected in the improper way, and we have to watch in this time of rising fascism in the way that a trial is conducted, in the way that someone is arrested, in the way that the evidence is presented. These are all important factors that go into having a jury of your peers that assumes your innocence until you're proven guilty. Take you to trial, right? That's an American right. And this person has been denied that. They're using this person once again as a scapegoat instead of looking at what's really the problem, is that the American healthcare system is driving people into poverty, into acts of violence. Instead of looking at the system as a whole, they're choosing to suspend the rights of this individual and make them into a patsy. It's very important that we as Americans do not allow that to happen.